The original owners of the apartment in Prague where I was born were a Jewish family. Like many others, they too did not return from the concentration camps. During the war, that apartment was occupied by a high-ranking German SS officer who, as the liberation forces advanced, left the place in a rush, leaving behind a loot of fine clothing, ladies' hats, an elegant fur coat, a 17th century Gothic botanical encyclopedia, carpets, bone china dishes, and a complete set of monogrammed silverware. After the liberation, my dispossessed parents, both survivors from Auschwitz and Dachau, found each other again in Prague. Unable to return to either of their respective homes, they moved into the German SS officer's freshly abandoned apartment. 2 decades later, as the new oppressive communist regime tightened its grip and life became unbearable, we fled Czechoslovakia to the only country that would open its doors, Israel. A few years ago, my mother found out that the refugee apartment assigned to us in Israel was built on land that originally belonged to a Palestinian family. First thing in the morning, I called my mother and told her, it's done. How many skeletons do you have, she asked. 18, I answered. 18, she repeated in a whisper. Yes, last night I counted them one by one. I lined them up against the wall of the studio. Now, can you believe it, Mommy? Now I'm afraid to enter my studio, afraid to open the door. Well, sure you are afraid, she said. What do you mean? What do you mean by sure? Well, you are afraid because behind that door all your dead are waiting. But they are not my dead, they are your dead. Oh no, Zuzka, they are. They are your dead too. Tell me, Mommy, how is it possible that Dasha, who you delivered just months after the war, paints these colorful and happy paintings, while my work is so dark? Oh, that's Zuzka. That is because you have been born with a coffin in your heart.
Zuzka, no, first listen, sit. Zuzka, you must be happy. You just must be happy. You must be happy. I want you to live. Oh, look at me, for example. I don't want to die. I'm too curious to die. I want to see everything. I want to travel, read everything. And if you want to live, especially forever, you must be happy. You are? You are? Well, interesting, you're happy. Then, what is this? Why would you make this? Art? Oh, Gott in Himmel. What is with this obsession with this Holocaust? The Schreck? Look at this. This is... Why don't you make something light? Something funny? Huh? Oi. This is all about death. This is war. This is death. This is war, death. What does your husband say about this? No? He's a very good man. Meredith, you weren't even born yet. You might be right, but I don't agree. Because I have been there, and I have seen it all. Now it's over. I only look ahead and never ever back, and you should too. I don't need art to remind me. Gnok! Gnok! You might be right. I disagree. This is disturbing. Very, very, very disturbing. Sorry, I told you I don't like photographs. I like pictures with paint on it, and if you make me one, Zuzka, I will be so glad to hang it right in the middle of my living room wall. Old photographs irritate me. They leak nostalgia. Oh, look at this, my old town. Oh, look at my old house. Oh, look, my old maid, blah, blah, blah. Memories are the lowest form of intelligence. It's good, huh? I don't remember who said that. Pushkin, maybe? But whoever said that was right. Oh, Zuzka. I can see your mother still has a very, very bad influence on you. Very bad. You? You have nightmares? Poor child. Okay, I tell you what we do. I will teach you a technique called visualization. It will fix your dream. Yes, 100%. Come. Okay, close your eyes. No, both eyes. Zuzka, who cares? They'll learn. Let's close your eyes. Both concentrate. That's right, now Zuzka. Open your skull up and pull slowly out your brain. Good, and give it to me. I take your brain and I dip it into a bucket of bleach. I swish it this direction, that direction. I wring it out. I give it back there, take it, now put it back into your brain. Close your skull up, quick. Now, open your eyes. It's a miracle. No more memories, no more nightmares. See, it's all gone with your clean, bleached brain. You can laugh. Finally, I get you to laugh. It's healthy. It's good for you now. You must be happy. You're happy, right? Yes, all the time. Of course, my heart aches. And my back hurts too, and my head, and my leg, and my feet. Everything hurts. So what? Who cares? I ignore it. I go out, buy myself new pair of shoes, and I push the pain from my heart through my stomach, into my leg, into my calf, into that shoe, and then I stamp on it. Do you like these boots? Yeah, they're good, huh? Yeah, vintage. Yeah, I bought them on the way back from the cemetery. They're comfortable too. What I do when the pain is unbearable, and nothing else. Zuzka, this conversation is, I tell you, and what do I do? What do I do? I dust and rearrange the pink and orange flowers. I dust and rearrange the pink and orange plastic flowers. And then, I moved the vase right under the sun. That is what I do.
Following Kristallnacht, all display windows in Wiener Mode, my grandfather's department store, were crushed. The next morning, my grandfather and my mother rushed to the store to assess the damage. Climbing through the shattered glass, my mother noticed one of the newly imported Parisian mannequins, my grandfather's pride. She was still wearing the latest fashion. She was lying face down on the floor. When they picked her up, they saw a big hole smashed. In the place was her heart. Many years had passed since I first arrived in the ancient city of Varanasi. The Ganges was like an oily snake emerging from its haze. The bathing women wrapping and unwrapping their wet, colorful saris dotted the river like exotic flowers. Oh, it was a beautiful sight, and the designer in me was elated. At the dyer's market, I selected a powder that, when dissolved, will turn the thirsty silk red like blood. Then, with great anticipation, I waited for the first sample to be freed from the loom. When it finally arrived in my humble hotel room, soaked in the weaver's sweat, I clutched it with both my hands and ran toward the dingy mirror, waving and draping the cloth around my bare torso in an exuberant burst of joy. It was a lush constellation of pink and orange flowers in a Slavic motif. A dress, gown, and sumptuous shawl. A flaming red afternoon sun crept through the unhinged shutters. But in the cracked mirror, it seemed that suddenly my face was morphing into my mother's face. I covered my head in the sheer cloth and closed my eyes. The room swirled around me. Offenbach's overture and Indian chants mixed with the muezzin's call to prayer. And I was riding a gilded carousel. But the horses all had faces of my dead relatives. The faint afternoon breeze promised relief, but instead carried the sweet smell of burning flesh. Auschwitz. My mother received a message that a new transport of male prisoners would be arriving at the camp. At a set time, it said, she could watch my father passing by the women's barracks. As instructed, she waited behind the barbed wire, holding her breath. And then she saw him, wearing a striped prisoner's uniform, pulling a cartload of military woolen blankets, his eyes searching for her. Walking behind him was a Nazi officer. Suspended between joy and horror, she froze. When he finally found her, their eyes locked and a big smile lit his face. He slowed down, looking at her, smiling. The Nazi officer, noticing this exchange, was taken by a maniacal rage. He raised his rifle and savagely rained blows on my father's shaven head. My mother can never forget that throughout these beatings, he stared at her, his blue eyes, and smiled, and smiled, and smiled. My mother's little sister, nicknamed Baby, was a child actress, a gifted singer. She played Dorothy in a production of The Wizard of Oz in the National Theatre of Czechoslovakia. I was quite young when my mother told me how in Auschwitz she witnessed the solemn parade of children holding hands quietly marching to their death. As the guards streamed over the loudspeakers, the soothing sounds of the music, somewhere over the rainbow.
Narrative has a very slow metabolism. If it is a sad story, it will be chewed from generation to generation, and it will have many lives. It will affect our judgment. It will affect our life. These are the lovers, and they are my parents. And sometimes this is my mother, and this is my father, and sometimes this is my father, and this is my mother. They are interchangeable, sometimes alive and sometimes dead. You see, I was born almost a decade after the Second World War, yet my heartbeat is synchronized with all these painful stories that I have heard from that period. My DNA is etched with memories of cruelties I have never experienced. And I ache for family members I never even knew. So these memories are my heirloom. They are my possession. A few years ago, we were visiting my mother, and my sister wondered how come we don't have anything from my father. Anything. You know, a book, a pen, a handkerchief, anything. My father died shortly after we arrived in Israel, and since I was the child who was present when my father died, I walked into my mother's bedroom and asked, how is it possible that we don't have anything from our father? I mean, what happened to his stuff? Where did it go? My mother's answer was, we don't. Because I gave everything he had to charity. Everything? Everything. Nothing's left. Nothing. Well, that's too bad. It would have been nice to have something from him, I said. And I walked out of her room. Wait, my mother called after me. I might have something for you. And she opened a drawer next to her bed and said, that's all I have. Maybe you want it. And she handed me a small blue Tiffany box. Well, I was surprised, and I thought, what does a Tiffany box have to do with my father? But I opened the box. Inside the box was a little jar. What's that? I asked, and she urged, open it, open it. That's all I have left from your father. When I opened it, I saw gold teeth. For a very long time, I was very angry. I couldn't understand why my mother would give me something like that. But then, I understood that for her, the separation between death and life is non-existent. And that was the only thing she could have given me. And she meant well. We are eating and drinking and chewing and digesting all the stories of our dead. And then we feed them to the next generation, and the next generation is still digesting the same memories over and over and over and over. And in the end, we are left with a narrative of humiliation and pain. And this narrative has a very slow metabolism. And this is not a judgment. This is a fact.